Welcome to the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. We are currently halfway through Royal Ascot, a little before halfway, and we are hopefully halfway through a massive heatwave in the UK. So apologies if myself and Tom look a touch tired today. Likely we haven't slept in about 3 days. It is absolutely horrible, Tom.
Yeah, the conditions are hot, and people in America love saying, "Oh, it's only 25 degrees Celsius, and that's not hot." But it is hot. The houses are not built for this kind of heat. It is warm. We are knackered. Royal Ascot is very draining. It's a great festival, but for us in the industry, it's pretty tough. But yeah, we're back with US action. We didn't give an individual race preview last week, did we? So it's time to do that now with the Ohio Derby.
Yeah, we're back into hopefully a few winners. I saw this lad from Texas online. He came over to England, and obviously Texas is very hot. It's like mid-30s, like all the time. He came over and was like, honestly, 30 degrees here is absolute hell. It's
Yeah.
just humid all the time. So if you are American, that's what we're comparing it to. Just don't slag us too much, but we're not used to this. Let's go into the Ohio Derby, where the weather there has been absolutely atrocious recently. They have had so much rain, but hopefully it is on the way up. Reminder, we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. We are just before 850 at the moment. So if you are new here, you haven't subscribed, you like what you're seeing, and hopefully we give you a winner or two, please do subscribe down below. Leave a comment with your selection for the Ohio Derby. That would be wonderful. But we'll get into things, Tom, because the Ohio Derby, honestly, sometimes it can be a pretty poor race, sometimes quite a good race. I think this year's renewal is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. There are some challenges in here from leading barns that wouldn't usually go to Thistledown. Thistledown for me is not a track that I would ever really look at. I know that you cover a fair bit of it on Sky Sports Racing on the days where we wouldn't have action from Churchill, etc., a Monday or a Tuesday, for example. So you may know this track better than I do, but I only kind of tune into Thistledown once a year for the Ohio Derby card. It seems like it's very speed favouring. There seems to be quite a lot of pace in here. Would you agree with both of those factors?
I would, yeah. I honestly, I'm not 100% sure how much rain affects things. The other day I covered Thistledown and rain was catering towards front runners, but a lot of them were sprints. And by the end of the card, it had begun to go a little more topsy-turvy. I think that's a thing to keep in mind for this race as well, because it's race 12 on the card. If
Mm.
there is a pace bias and they want to go forward, normally jockeys have, well, if you haven't cottoned onto it by race 12, you're never going to cotton onto it at all. They start going harder than maybe they should, and suddenly the race sets up for a few closers. But in this spot, there should be a few front runners. I mean, we've got the horses that were, we'll say, the Kentucky Derby trail. I mean, we've got Chunk of Gold who ran in the Kentucky Derby. McAfee obviously comes from the Peter Pan. He'll be likely up with the pace. And you've got Clever Again as well, who he managed to make every single yard in Hot Springs over at Oaklawn. So from a speed perspective, we should be all right.
Yeah, I think Clever Again will lead this field. He tried to lead in the Preakness, and we'll talk more about that when we get into individual horses in a second. But I think he's got the pace to lead, and I think that will be the tactics for him. Plex is out and out speed, the New York bred. I think Master Controller wants to go forward as well. McAfee will probably sit just off, and the same with Chunk of Gold, I imagine. But with those three up top, maybe even Bohemian Style, one of the rags in here, I think we're going to go pretty solid up front. And it depends, as you say, what the track's going to be doing. If it is a sloppy track, if it is speed favouring, then maybe you do still want to focus on one of these horses, despite the fact it could be a contested pace. If not, I'd be looking to a closer, and that's kind of the way I'm going. Little spoiler alert there.
Yes, we'll see where we go with that. Are you trying to grow a beard, or is it just like long week?
I don't really know. I shaved yesterday. It feels like I'm having such a long week that it's grown about 4 days in one. And also, I've realised I'm wearing a white t-shirt, and it very much just looks like I'm a head and neck because I'm blending in.
Such a man, aren't you? I shaved yesterday, and this is how long it is.
It shouldn't be this long. That's the problem. Maybe my shave is not working. Who knows?
Maybe you've hit puberty.
Probably about 14 years ago. Yeah.
Let's go on to Clever Again. He's the first one that we are going to talk about. Steve Asmussen teaming up with Jose Ortiz. Look, it was a good effort in the Hot Springs. We say a lot, I don't necessarily trust big performances at Oaklawn Park because they don't always translate elsewhere. It's harsh to say that against the Preakness because last time around he was tried in the Preakness and he was whooped by journalism and everyone else in the race. He finished last of 9, beaten 30 lengths. But at the same time, he was running in a grade 1 on this fourth start.
Yeah, but he took lots of money, didn't he? He was a short price for the
Yeah.
Preakness. People thought he was this dark horse that had the capabilities of going very close in the race. Some people actually tipped him over journalism, which in hindsight, actually in foresight before the race, that is a stupid move because we already knew that journalism was top quality and Clever Again hadn't shown that apart from his stakes win at Oaklawn, which, as you say, is hard to fully trust. In the Preakness, I thought he was terrible, to be honest with you. He showed a lot of pace in that race, which is obviously a big asset. But so did Goska, and Goska finished a very close second behind Journalism. Obviously, that margin would have been bigger between the two had Journalism got a clear run, but Goska ran a great race. So it's not like you can say the pace completely collapsed. And also, I understand he got badly interfered with when Journalism was bursting through that gap between himself, Clever Again, and Goal Oriented. But equally, he was done at that point, and that was at the top of the turn. So I don't really know what to expect with this horse. He's your morning line favourite. Jose Ortiz flies to Ohio to ride, which is a big tick. But with him, who knows? It could be another blowout. It could be another big, easy success. I have no idea. And at a short price, I don't want to be saying I have no idea.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Do you remember the interview just before? I think Jose Ortiz rode a winner on the undercard on Preakness Day, and he was asked by, I think it was Donna Brothers, said, "Oh, what led you to choose between Sandman and Clever Again?" And he said, "Oh, I'd already committed to Clever Again." And he
Yeah,
looked devastated that he had ridden Clever Again. He wanted obviously to be on Sandman. He's like, "Look, I can't predict the future. I didn't think Sandman would come here, but he was on Clever Again." I also don't think the Preakness was actually that good of a race for
me
for
neither.
Preakness standards. I know journalism won it, but I mean he literally fell over and still managed to win. I don't want to disrespect Gosger and Sandman too much, but they're genuine Grade 2, Grade 3 horses, I'd say.
Yeah, Sandman definitely. We'll find out with Goska in the upcoming weeks. I think he's due to come out again, maybe next week. It might be the week after, and we'll get a proper line of the form on of the Preakness. Obviously, journalism is a great horse, but as you say, when you have one good horse in the race, it doesn't make the race great in terms of form. You can only beat what's put in front of you. I also don't think he beat much in that contest,
Mhm.
and the fact that Clever Again was absolutely stuffed, completely beaten out of sight, that is a huge concern for me. What price is he on the morning line? Let me just double check. Nine to
Uh,
five.
yeah.
I mean, that's skinny, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be something I'd be anywhere near interested. Next on the morning line is McAfee, who is 3-1 for Rick Dutrow. John Velasquez taking the ride. He comes from the Peter Pan last time around, which was a great race for us because we put up the forecast and obviously had the winner with Hill Road. Am I being harsh to say that everything in the Peter Pan went right for him and he still couldn't win?
Yes, I think you are being harsh there. I think everything went right for Hill Road in the Peter Pan because they did get a little bit embroiled on the front end with that battle, Captain Cook and McAfee. They were racing a long way from home, and I do think it set it up for the closer. Hill Road has subsequently run okay, albeit not great. So I don't know how good the form is, but I do think McAfee was probably the best horse in that race on that specific day. Hill Road may be the best horse in time, but he was still progressing this season. Um, I quite like McAfee's profile. He seems an improving type. His runs in the Wood Memorial and the Gotham were eye-catching, if not close to winning. He finished fifth in both. And then last time, he definitely took a step forward to run second. I like the fact that Johnny V is scheduled down to go to Ohio. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't want to go to Ohio if it wasn't for a chance of winning a big race. He's in his veteran years now. He probably would rather just sit in the West Coast or the East Coast and stay there for a long period of time. East Coast, obviously, at the moment. But he's going to Ohio for this one ride. So that's a big positive. And I like the Rick Dutrow to Ohio angle. He's never had a runner here, from what I can see. I think he's going to see dramatic improvement from a couple of his horses, and McAfee could be one.
You would like to think so, anyway. I read the Peter Pan entirely different to you, in a sense that I thought Hill Road did very well to win the race. It might be sort of rose-tinted glasses because I was with Hill Road on the day, but he was the only horse to really get involved in the race from the rear of the field, and he was the rear of the field as well. McAfee and Captain Cook, and there was another horse in there as well, they went along in the early part of the race. I thought McAfee, 3 off the rail, had the perfect sit. He managed to beat Captain Cook, which honestly, that's the horse he was ridden to beat. And then suddenly you've just got Hill Road, who is slightly better than them, quite frankly. But again, it's probably a very good Grade 2 horse rather than a Grade 1 horse. But again, we are dealing with that sort of class in this Grade 3 contest. Enter Chunk of Gold. He's the next on the list. Look, the dogs are really barking about this one. Don't know if you worked that one out. But Chunk of Gold, look, he almost became our worst enemy in the Kentucky Derby because he almost knocked over Sovereignty right at the start. He came across and he was involved in that. Jareth Lovebury once again takes the ride, but look, I think he actually ran a lot better in the Derby than his placing and also speed figure suggests.
Yeah, I guess so. He was up there with the pace, wasn't he? And the pace basically collapsed. So he ran pretty well. His previous runs in the Risen Star and the Louisiana Derby are solid, finishing runner up in both, I think it was. Jareth Lobbery going there. He's a great rider, a really strong rider, perhaps underrated as well. He's generally seen at his best on Larry Ravelli types who are speed favouring horses, but he can definitely ride closers. And I think Chunk of Gold will be sat just off the speed with McAfee, kind of in that second flight behind the 3 or 4 horses that definitely want to go forward. I think he's got stellar claims on the form book. I have no issue with that whatsoever. But a part of me still believes in two things about this horse. Firstly, I actually think he wants a synthetic surface. He's been working at Turfway subsequently, and he began his career at Turfway on the all-weather, and he looked a pretty nice type. He's kind of like Final Gambit, but just not as talented, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I'm wrong in saying that. But I also think that Kentucky Derby form, if you go back the last 4 or 5 years, you don't see many horses that have been beaten and beaten a long way come out and win subsequently. It feels like every horse is ready for that day, and the rest of their 3-year-old campaign kind of goes by the wayside. So I don't know what to expect from him, but I know that he has the talent to go close if he's on his best game.
Yeah, I would expect him to be in the 3, honestly, at Chunk of Gold. I thought his Kentucky Derby run was good. He showed a lot of speed early on, and a lot more speed than I thought he actually had to sit in about 6th place. Now, he made a move as they turned out of the back straight, and he got quite close to the leaders. Now, as we all know, they went too hard in the Kentucky Derby. They do it every single year. But he looked like he was going to be a contender midway round the final turn, and then suddenly you got Journalism, Sovereignty, Baeza on the outside, and you're outclassed immediately. You're not up to that level. That's fine in this sort of contest. I thought that Jareth Lovebury felt he had a chance to go okay and maybe finish 5th or something late on. The second that he realised he wasn't, he didn't take a pull, but he stopped riding him as vigorously, and then he dropped to 9th, beaten 15 lengths. I do think it was a run that was better than it looks on paper. And as we say, the runs in the Louisiana Derby and also the Risen Star, they were very good as well. So I think he's one that I'm hoping the market disrespects a little bit and we get a bit more of a price regards to Chunk of Gold. We've got Moplex in here as well, as you say, is all speed. The Engelhart runner comes over from Aqueduct, ran in the Bay Shore last time around, managed to win it. But I mean, this is going to take a lot more, I'd think.
Well, he's 6-1 on the morning line, which is why we're talking about him in good detail. But I think he's probably a 16-1 shot in terms of reality about how close he's going to go to winning this race. He's a 4-time winning New York bred colt. There are 2 things you can take from that. 1, he is more prolific than the majority of horses in this field. And 2, he's a New York bred. We don't see too many New York breds coming out of New York bred contests and beating open company. I can think of Spirit St. Louis, or Louis, however you want to say it, recently, and also there was another one that I can't remember, but there are only 2 New York breds that have really made a stamp in open company in recent years, and I don't think Moplex is going to be winning a graded stakes here. He is all speed, he's going to be part of the pace, he's drawn wide on the track, and I'm sure he's going to be used up early.
Mm-hmm. It's the sort of race you could run okay in, but at the same time, I'm not sure he will. Just quiz question, gold star for you if you get it right. Which of the 2 dogs was it that barked them?
Why are you testing me on this?
I just want to know. The last time I asked you this, you got both of their names right. So I just want to see if it's still in that head of yours.
Do you know how scrambled my head is this week? I'm going to say Ollie.
Yeah, it was Ollie with a D at the start. But yeah, you were right. Well done. You got Dolly right.
Yes.
Any other horses that you want to mention in this? And no, can we move on?
Yeah, not really. If you look on the morning line, Brereton's Baytown is 30-1, probably has no chance on form. Finished way behind McAfee in the Peter Pan. The 3-horse Capo Luca comes into this race on the back of 3 victories, is a local, runs at Thistledown week in, week out. I don't think that form's strong enough. Extradition's not good enough and was behind Capo Luca last time. Bohemian Style, another big price horse in this race, exits contest on the synthetics. Again, probably not the right surface for this horse. And then you come to Curvino, who was smashed last time up by Hypnus in an allowance race. This is a grade 3. And Master Controller, who has been doubly vet scratched recently for a trainer who I don't know too much about in Brittany Vandenberg. I would say that's a bit of a question mark. I don't even know if this horse is going to line up.
Yeah, we kind of hope that he does because it adds another element to the race a little bit. But right, we'll get into selections for the Ohio Derby. Just before we do, make sure you subscribe to us. Leave your comment down below with who you think will win the weekend feature over at Thistledown. Like I say, if you are new here, click subscribe. We will upload every single week, and I think we're back with NFL content next week as well. But Tom, I'll let you go first. Who are you going to go for?
I like McAfee in here for Rick Dutrow and Johnny Velasquez. I like the running style. Should just be behind the pace of the front four horses in here. Get a lovely toe through. Hopefully not too far off the speed, just in case it is a speed favouring track. And I think the form stacks up really well against this group. He is more proven than the majority in this, including Clever again. And I think he should be vying for favouritism.
Who was second on your shortlist?
Chunk of gold.
Do you know who's going to be really happy in a second?
Go on.
Ryan Mantle.
Why so?
Because they were my two as well, but reverse order. So I think this is going to be one of the Turf and Touchdowns viewer reverse forecasts that we see quite a bit of. I think Chunk of Gold has got all the class to win this race. I think McAfee's the danger. I don't really like Clever again at all, honestly. But Chunk of Gold, like I say, I thought he ran a really good race in the Derby, a lot better than it looks on paper. His two efforts building up to the Derby were good. And I think importantly as well, they gave him a little bit of time just to get over his exertions from Churchill. He didn't work again until, 31st of May, or recorded work anyway, over at Turfway Park. His two works straight after the Derby were absolutely fantastic. 47 seconds flat, fastest of 73 on the day, over 4 furlongs. And he worked the exact same time again, just about a week later or so. 47 seconds flat, fastest of 62. He had a slower work last time around, which is more of a maintenance work. That was back on the 14th of June. You're not going to do anything too much with him a week before your next big target. I think Chunk of Gold will go very close in this spot. I think he can take it out, and I think McAfee can finish back in second place. But I do think we might cover the 1-2 this week in the Ohio Derby. We've got 3 more days of Royal Ascot to come. What are we going to talk about next week?
I couldn't even tell you. I literally couldn't tell you. I haven't looked at the schedule. Actually, no, hold on. Is it the Stephen Foster at Churchill next week? It might be. They're coming to the end of their meet, so it could be a Churchill race. And then I think after that is Saratoga. Let's go with that.
I'll go with it. I mean, the day 3 of Royal Ascot gets underway in about 40 minutes. So that's where our focus is at the moment. But we made time to talk about the Ohio Derby, all the same. Like I say, we'll be back next week in some format, not overly sure which, but come back and find out next week. It's all going to be a big surprise. But that is Turf and Touchdowns for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like on the video and a comment down below. We will see you in about 7 days' time. Until that point, stay safe, look after one another. Goodbye.